Hello and welcome to a very special last word. The Hindu's WikiLeaks exposes have created a furor. The opposition claims this is proof of American arm twisting and Congress corruption in politics. The government dismisses the cables as unverified and subjective. So today we ask, where does the truth lie? That's with the editor-in-chief of the Hindu, N. Ram, America's ambassador to India at the time many of these cables were written, David Mulford, and India's former ambassador to the United States and former Foreign Secretary, Lalit Man Singh. And Ram, let's start with what many consider the biggest of the WikiLeaks cable stories, that an American embassy employee was shown 2 chests containing cash by Satish Sharma's aide Nachiketa Kapoor and told that this was part of a 50-60 crore stash of money that had been put aside to bribe MPs to ensure the government won the confidence vote in 2008. And secondly, the same employee was told by Nachiketa Kapoor that already 4 RLD MPs had been given 10 crore each. In your eyes, does this amount to proof that the government bought MPs in July 2008?
Absolutely, Karan. And moreover, it should be a starting point for a criminal investigation right away.
David Mulford, as you perhaps know, this cable is potential political dynamite in India. It was sent by your then Deputy Chief of Mission, Stephen White. You were ambassador at the time. Can you vouch for the veracity of its contents, or could it be the case that Stephen White and the concerned embassy employee were exaggerating, or perhaps even concocting the details?
Well, the only thing I can say on this is that my memory is about the fact that in Parliament at the time of the vote of confidence, a member of Parliament turned up with what seemed to be a suitcase of money and dumped it on the table. That was pure theatrics, and I'd like to remind you that at that time the civil nuclear deal was nowhere near done.
Absolutely.
And that vote, as I remember, was a vote of confidence in the government.
Can I ask you this? Did Stephen White report the contents of that cable to you? Did he share with you the information that he had got from the embassy employee?
I'm not able to answer that question at the moment because this has just come out, and I have already said what I remember about money appearing on the scene at that time.
Would you have any reason to believe that Stephen White would have exaggerated or that he would have concocted? Do you have any reason to believe that?
I simply have nothing to say on that.
All right, you have nothing to say. Let me put it like this, Lalit Man Singh. The Prime Minister speaking in Parliament today has called these claims unverified. He's also said they're unverifiable. But let me ask you, would you have any reason to believe that a senior American diplomat cabling his own State Department in confidence would either exaggerate or, worse still, make up stories?
No, I wouldn't believe that he would exaggerate. I think American diplomats are as professional as Indian diplomats are, and Indian diplomat won't also exaggerate. But remember, diplomats only report, they are not investigators. So they rely on sources. If the sources are reliable, that report is reliable.
And Ram, let's take up the hint that we got there from Lalit Man Singh that diplomats rely on sources, and if the source is unreliable, then the diplomat could be misled. Now, in this instance, the cables are relying on an unnamed embassy official, presumably so junior he's not even referred to by designation, who was speaking to Nachiketa Kapoor, a man about whom we now have serious question marks about his track record. So how credible and reliable is the information in those cables?
I think they should be checked out, because when they say an embassy official, it's clearly an Indian national. Otherwise they wouldn't use that term. And we can, CBI and the police can certainly find out who this person was, and it was serious enough for Mr. White to report it to the State Department. He wouldn't just report idle gossip, would he?
That's the critical point.
So you can find the name of this person.
Let me pursue that point with Ambassador Mulford. Ambassador Mulford, You're a seasoned ambassador, you spent 5 years in India. Would your deputy chief of mission have reported something to the State Department if he didn't believe it was true and only looked upon it as hearsay and gossip? Would he not have made some effort to establish the veracity of what he was reporting?
Well, I think I've already said that I have nothing to say on this subject.
But I'm actually asking you simply to tell me what you think of the quality of reporting done by Stephen White, who was then your deputy chief of mission. Do you believe that his reports would have been accurate and verified?
Well, certainly the reports from the U.S. Embassy in general are accurate reports, but as I've said, I have nothing to say on this particular subject. I have already made a comment to the effect that the only thing I remember about money was when the Member of Parliament went into the session for the vote of confidence and presented a briefcase full of money, which all of us regarded as pure theatrics at that time.
Let me put this to you. Assuming that what Stephen White reported was something he believed was worth reporting and reasonably genuine, should he not, knowing that he therefore had evidence of a crime having been committed and potential further crimes likely to be committed, should he not have also informed the Indian government of what he had stumbled upon?
I'm not going to speculate on these kinds of questions, Karan. I'm sorry to tell you that.
Okay. Well, Ambassador Man Singh, in general, if a diplomat stumbles upon something that is a potential crime or a suspected crime, is there a duty or an onus to report it to the home government?
Only if it's a crime against his own country.
Not if it's a crime against the host government or the host country.
If it's a crime within his country, it's not his duty to report, but he was reporting it as something that he had learnt about to the home authorities. If the home authorities thought it was serious enough to report back to the host government, perhaps.
Okay. Let's then come, gentlemen, to a second set of those WikiLeaks exposed by your paper, Enron. This time, leaks that suggest that there was a fair measure of American pressure on India over the issue of voting against Iran during the IAEA process of 2005. Now, your paper has published a set of cables reporting on the conversations David Mulford had at that time with then Foreign Secretary Sham Saran. You've gone on record to say that you believe David Mulford was arm-twisting Saran. Why do you say that?
Yeah, because Ambassador Mulford was a very distinguished person, an intellectual, and he would surely remember these conversations, and they are in cables, which are part of the stock that the New York Times and The Guardian with 3 other papers are published, and their cables say so. The cables say so. Okay. And Ambassador Mulford also weighed in with Dr. Rice in one notable cable that we have reported on today, and the text is up on our website.
Okay, Ambassador Mulford, let me put that to you. Were you in your conversations with Sham Saran in August and September 2005 over the issue of India's vote over the Iran issue at the IAEA? Were you arm twisting? Were you weighing in? Were you applying pressure?
Well, let's just go back in time, shall we, to deal with this thing. In July of that year is when the vision for the civil nuclear deal was launched by President Bush and Manmohan Singh. And in September, the vote was being prepared in the IAEA on Iran. This was very early days in the civil nuclear effort, and what was clear was that the United States Congress was not particularly open to the civil nuclear proposal at that time.